Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep. With your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this. Let me make sure. Yeah, I'm good to go. Welcome to this Wednesday edition of Benzinga's PreMarket Prep. Spencer Israel, Joel Elconin, Dennis Dick with you this morning. We got some news. We got some earnings. We got some Boeing news. Boeing is in the news again. They got the FAA approval for the 737 MAX, so that starts the timeline, starts the clock ticking on when that thing actually can take to the skies again. What else do we have? We have more vaccine news. Pfizer says, no, never mind. Our vaccine is not 90% effective. It's 95% effective. So we got that on our radar as well. Our guest today is Paul LaMonica, digital correspondent at CNN Money. He will join us at around 8:20 or so from 8:20 to 8:30 for those 10 or 12 minutes. That'll be then. Before I throw it to Joel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, show us the love. We appreciate that. And now, Joel, tell us, how exactly are things going in this morning's overnight session once you unmute your mic?
Things are looking pretty good here, Spencer. We're up 10 and a quarter handles at 36.17. Had a little dip overnight, and holy moly, I wish I would have been up in the middle of the night. We got right down to Monday and Tuesday's low. Don't call it a triple bottom, but we have a triple bottom here right at the 35.85 level. That will be the key level for the remainder of the year. Crude continuing to rally, up 86 cents at 42.53. Gold getting hit. That's down 16.10 at 18.69.70. Silver in the red as well. That's down by 26 cents at 24.40. And Bitcoin's got a new handle. It's the 18,000 handle, up $305 at 18,035. We've even backed off. We were at 18,540 in the Bitcoin futures. So Bitcoin on a tear along with the remainder of the market. Let's bring in Triple D. Triple D,
Yep.
how was he after? I mean, it wasn't super crazy after hours.
No, that was one of the quietest sessions in a long time. I actually said to my buddy there, another trader at Bright Trading I talk to regularly, I was like, wow, quiet session. He's like, yeah, super quiet. It was quiet last night. So obviously we did have a couple of earnings. We had NEO, so there was some movement in some EV stocks, but and Boeing had some news as well, so you're seeing movement there too, and you obviously more Boeing news here this morning. But really, that was a very quiet session. It's been quiet even this morning here. I mean, we're up a little bit. The buy the dippers went again because overnight the S&Ps did dip pretty hard, and it's come all the way back. So I guess if you're just trading S&Ps and every time it pulls back 25 handles, you're buying it, you're making money, and you're doing it again here this morning. It was an overnight dip that gets bought. Groundhog Day.
And within striking distance of that all-time closing high, was made on Monday at 36.23. What do you know? Our pre-market high stands at 36.23 and a quarter.
Those levels work, Joel. Those levels work.
They work, and they work as long as you're buying support and buying the breakouts. Never sell there is no resistance. I mean, they should take McGee and Edwards should take resistance out of their book. It's just, you
buy support and you just buy. Eliminate the sell button. It works when the markets are making new all-time highs. I mean, even the IWM, you think about how ugly it was back in March and, when we thought the zombie apocalypse was coming. And the IWM has made new highs too. So
finally, yeah.
The Qs have made new all-time highs. The SPYs made new all-time highs. It's just a party everywhere here, Joel.
All right, party like it's 1999, right?
That's it. It is. It's a party like we're 1999. So let's party like we're 1999 and let's stock some movers.
Well, hold on. So we got some people in the chat, several people asking, should they take some profits in Bitcoin? Well, congratulations for those unrealized gains. Those of you who've been long Bitcoin.
Yeah.
What do you got, Joe? Why don't you pull up that chart?
Okay, I will. Yeah.
I mean, we've been talking about this really since the breakout kind of started.
We've been bullish since 10,000.
I'm canceling my bids. I know, man. Why
do we not buy that?
I don't know.
We've been bullish, man, on this show.
I know.
Like,
I
when
don't know.
When Bitcoin was 10,000, I said I want to wear a shirt that says "I love Bitcoin." And then Mark Yusko came on. I said, "That's it. I'm buying some." And Bitcoin was like what, 15,000 when he came on.
Yeah,
yeah,
you
I know.
what?
And that was the catalyst. It's never pulled back since. All I wanted was a little pullback there to get in, and that has not happened. And it's been straight up since Mark Yusko was on our show. So, anyways, no pullbacks here to be had. I'm waiting, still waiting for the pullback. I missed my GBTC purchase by I think 20 cents, and now it's like $4 higher than I was trying to buy it. So I don't know. I missed it. Not chasing. I don't chase. I'm gonna get a pullback here eventually. Maybe not. Maybe it's gonna go straight to 100,000 and be like, why didn't I chase?
The one thing I remember most about the Bitcoin bubble is after it burst, is all the Uber Bitcoin bulls were saying this is a feature, not a bug. Like we expected this to go back down to like 10,000 or 5,000 or I don't even remember what the low is now, but the low from last year, the year before. But all the Uber Bitcoin bulls expected a massive sell-off, and that's part of the asset. That's what they said. So here we are now, 2 years later, we're back again. If you, man,
it's different this time, and what the biggest difference is. We're not in like this. It didn't take off and go from 10,000 to 20,000 like 3 days. So it's been slowly climbing. It's filled. It's it's done its work that it had to do to go higher. I think it goes significantly higher still. Maybe I should be chasing. Maybe I should just close my eyes and blind it, and blindly buy. But I'm waiting for a pullback. So anyway, I'm not that worried about it. I mean, if I miss it, I miss it. There's lots of other assets. It wasn't like I was going all in on Bitcoin.
If you think Bitcoin is going to keep going, then it would stand to reason that the quote-unquote crypto stocks should also keep going. I'm talking about...
Yeah, I don't know.
What about Riot?
I
think you want to go to Riot. Like, well, look at what Riot did. So now all of a sudden, Robinhood's got a hold of Riot.
Oh, there you go.
The crowd's got, hey, this is the way to play Bitcoin, and it went up 50% yesterday. So I don't know if there was another headline, Spencer, if you can enlighten us, or if this is just, the speculative bubble that Riot blockchain often becomes. But people see this as a crypto play, and Bitcoin is getting a lot of talk. And they're like, okay, I don't want to buy GBT, so how else can I play it? Some people say I could play it through Riot. So, I mean, this is why it's getting the love.
Riot doesn't have news. It doesn't need news. Go back and look at what the stock did during the Bitcoin bubble, last Bitcoin bubble.
Needs Bitcoin.
Right?
Yeah.
Joel's got it up right there on the bottom right, the monthly chart. Look at that. So if you think Bitcoin's going higher, it would stand to reason that these other stocks, Mara, Riot, even like Overstock, even Square.
Well, we talked Mara on the show.
Even NVIDIA, anything with some crypto exposure would rally with it. It would stand to reason. We can't tell you whether you should take profits or not.
Well, I'll just say, did you have a target? What's your time horizon? That's what you got to do. You target, time horizon. You hit your target, then then stick with it. If you're holding long term, earlier or last week after the Yusko thing, I talked to a buddy of mine, and I was like, you know what? I was gonna buy some and look at it, in 13 years, and not even think about it. And I don't know. GBTC was in the $16.
Did you try to buy it? That's where I tried to buy it. I put my order that day.
A little bit higher.
Yusko was on the show. I threw my order, I think, at $16.75. It had closed right around there that day, but it gapped up that morning, and it never came in. So it was right there. It traded, I think, I was late to put it out there. If I would have put it out there like at 9:30, but I was trading my open. So I didn't get my order out there till 10 o'clock probably, because I had too many stocks overnight to get out of. So then I get around to my long-term portfolio. That's usually how I am. I'm trading all my short-term stuff. By the time I get out of all my short-term stuff, I get to my long-term portfolio around 10. So, I mean, sometimes I place the orders overnight the night before if I think about it, but a lot of times I'm trading those hours too. So usually it's around 10 o'clock. I get to my long-term portfolio and I take a look, and I threw an order out there to buy GBTC, and it never got executed.
Well, we get a chance. Nothing goes straight up, nothing goes straight down, right? We'll get a chance.
Oh, I think so. I'm not worried about it. If I miss the whole Bitcoin bubble, and I miss the Bitcoin.
And now at Thanksgiving, people are going to have to talk about how much money they made in Bitcoin over Zoom, right?
They'll be doing this.
That was, I think I stole that one from you, Censor. But let's do some earnings, right? We got some earnings. We got some Boeing news. Lowe's is low. What else you want?
Well, let's start with the Boeing news. This was expected, and the reason you can say that is because you can just look at the chart and see the price action going.
Wow, over 200.
But the FAA has cleared the Boeing 737 MAX to resume flying. There's a timetable here. So this is obviously this is 2 years, a year and a half. We've been waiting for this headline. So we got it. It came this morning. They can resume selling them, and these airliners can resume flying them, and that's big for Boeing. So my question of the day, more of a survey of the day that I may or may not have borrowed from Wedbush this morning. Although I modified it though.
Was it our buddy Joel or was it someone else?
Yeah, it was Joel, but I modified his question a little bit. My question is, would you rather tomorrow hop on a 3-hour flight on a 737 MAX or go on a 5-day cruise? That's my question.
So we'll do 1 to go on the MAX, 2 to go on the cruise. What would you rather? It's the CNBC. We'll take it from Fast Money. Would you rather?
I said
go on the plane or go on the cruise. 1 for the plane, 2 for the cruise.
Yeah,
go.
1 for the plane.
A plane for sure.
That's what I said.
For sure.
I said plane.
I almost say the cruise because I could just stay in the cabin. So I could just go in the cabin and hide out because I have 2 different ways I can die on the Boeing plane. One's going to crash and burn, and the other one we get COVID. So the cruise, I don't think the cruise is going to sink. I didn't see a lot of cruise ships sinking. Actually, that did happen, didn't it, a few years ago?
It was one time.
It was really windy though.
It was one time, man.
We'll check the weather reports before we choose. Mostly ones. I guess the 3 hours it's over with and done with. But you know what? I kind of would love to go on a cruise. I would enjoy the cruise a lot more than I would enjoy the plane. So maybe if I'm taking my chances, let's go on the cruise. Get in that buffet line. Share the utensils. Sounds like
line
fun.
Up at midnight for the dessert buffet. That's going to change on cruises.
With all the
I told you that. That's why people go. They go to eat. Of course,
that's why you go on vacation. You go to eat. That's why I go on vacation. That's why I'm 215 pounds. I go to eat.
Oh, really?
I think I broke out to new all-time highs.
I knew it.
Everybody's talking about the COVID 20. They lost 20 pounds because they're all exercising on their Pelotons, and I gained 20 pounds.
Oh, because you were like
everybody on my time
broke
stream.
out. You broke out, man. You were like 200 to 210.
Where's my next resistance point?
Oh, 220.
220.
I'll buy the 220s. Sell the 225s. I'm 180, 180,
right.
180.
Show us the hand signals for the 225.
For quantity or price?
Both. Buy the 225s. He's not going to show us.
Back to the Boeing chart. Joel.
225. I don't know. Does this mean they're going to be selling more planes just because people are going to be flying them?
Exactly. Who's buying this plane?
Yeah.
We're assuming that every airline wants to buy planes when none of them do.
Yeah.
So this is your upside capitulatory event. This is the time to party in the streets and ring the register, in my opinion. It's been a good run in Boeing. You shouldn't have been buying on the Monday. Should have waited for the pullback, which you got. I was one stock I didn't buy, but we know I bought Save and I bought a whole bunch of other ones there. I think you ring the register now. Boeing party. This is all the good news. Nobody's buying the plane. So I think this is as good as it gets for a while. You got the resistance point 234. That's your level there. That's where it got to when everybody got excited back in June. That's your resistance point now. So you do have a little bit of room, maybe another 10 points of room, but you're getting greedy going for that last 10 points. If I was long Boeing, I would say sold to everybody who thinks somebody's buying this plane.
225, just over that. That's your pre-market high. Look for continuation in that. For the continuation move, 225.40. I think this would be the one. You put some out at 225.5, you get lifted. Throw a little more out at 226, see if you get lifted. 226.5, throw a little bit more size on it, see if you get lifted. And then when they stop lifting your offers, you got to start slamming bids. So, that's if, depending on the size of your position. But good news, though. Good to see. We'll see if we can take out the pre-market high.
All right, so that's Boeing. SPR, I believe, also got an upgrade, and it is trading up in sympathy. Obviously, big Boeing parts supplier there, and SPR has been on a hell of a run here too. $20 if we just go back to about a week and a half ago, and it's been gap, and go for SPR. It's up 7% more here this morning. Again, I would ring the register in this one too for the same reason.
Also an upgrade this morning. I don't know if you mentioned that.
Yeah, who upgraded it?
Yeah, Jeffries to buy. They gave it they raised their price target to 40 from 24.
Okay, completely late to the party. Missed the whole train chasing price. Jeffrey's going to top tick this thing today. I'm predicting, meaning they're exactly on the wrong side of the trade.
Can we put our long-term hat on here for a second? I
Sure.
mean, I know
I like wearing the long-term hat every once in a while.
And I mean, if let's say you really want, like, if things are really getting back to normal, like this is really normal. I mean, you got room up to 261 here for a 50% retracement in the Boeing. Probably, I'm a little bit off on the.
So you're not selling your Boeing?
I don't have any Boeing. I'm just saying, how people, I mean, there hasn't been a meaningful retracement in this SPR thing. I mean, this topped out in 18. I'm just saying, if you believe in Fibonacci retracements at all, it's something to keep an eye on. This one, let's see if I can do it a little bit better. These lines. I mean,
where's the stock without COVID? If COVID never happened, and now you got the Boeing back and they're buying planes, is it making new all-time highs on this headline? That's this question. I don't know. Or is it significant?
I don't know.
Was it still significantly down? I mean, we made the all-time highs up at 446 before the Boeing, Max ever had any issues. So the question would be, without COVID, where is the stock? Because it's about half of what it was. And if you look at the other airlines, obviously without COVID as well, if you look, Save is $20, was 45, so it's further than it was than Boeing. Boeing has the defense business, which helps them as well, though. So obviously they're everything aerospace, so they are somewhat more diversified than some of your traditional airlines. But I don't know. I think that's what you got to ask yourself: is everything priced in now, or is this eventually going back, to $300-400? I don't think it's going there right away. So I think maybe if you've got in your long-term account, you picked it up and you don't want to pay the taxes and you think, we're eventually getting out of COVID, which I believe we are. I think Boeing's probably higher a year from now. I do believe that. I think Boeing is probably higher a year from now, but I also believe Spirit Air is probably higher a year from now. I believe, all those other stocks, the cruise lines, are higher a year from now. So, I mean, it's kind of like pick which one maybe, the one you think is going to move the most. I think if you really want one, I'd pick up an airline. If you really believe that we're getting out of Boeing, and I mean, you look at what these airlines have done, they've given back a lot of the gains here. I still think we're getting out of this, although it's not going to be. Now, I've sold all my airlines, full disclosure. I sold them on 2 days ago on the pop, which I said I was going to. But, I mean, there's an argument here to have some exposure to some of these stocks in your long-term portfolio, if we're putting on the long-term hats.
Andrew Garver is a 50% resistance. It could be resistance. It could be support as well. This is what I grew up on, was a 50%. I'm really not a Fibonacci. The true Fibonacci retracements are 0.382 and 0.618. What I like to see, I mean, when stocks have moves, they have counter moves. The 50% retracements are better if you could get a couple daily highs in there, a couple weekly highs, but they work both ways. If there's a big rally and something pulls back, you could use it as a re-entry point, and if something has a big decline. So those are, it could be resistance or support. And if you want to dig deep into the Fibonacci numbers, you can use those as well. I just was always 50%, and I guess rubbed off on Dennis a little bit, but you can use whatever you want. Let's do NEO earnings.
Well, let's do Pfizer real fast. And
Pfizer, more good news.
I want to bring on our guest as we discuss Pfizer. So,
sure.
I mean, the Pfizer news was that they said there was going to be more headlines coming down the pipeline last week, and so the headline this morning is that they have even more data. Now their vaccine is 95% effective, which is of course different from what they said last week. Last week they said it was over 90%. So now they're saying 95%.
Just as good as Moderna.
Just as good as Moderna. Also,
not as good as Sputnik though, because Sputnik will be 96%.
We're applying
effective
for the emergency use authorization from the FDA. So just Pfizer and Moderna neck and neck here. And as we discuss this, I want to bring on our guest, Paul LaMonica, as digital correspondent at CNN Money, joining us now. on Benzinga's pre-market prep. I believe he's allowed to talk. There he goes. Paul, good morning.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
We're doing all right, Paul. What is your take on what seems like we're in an all-out race here between Moderna and Pfizer?
Yeah, I mean, I could be wrong, but I just tweeted that I don't understand necessarily the one goes up because the other one has, new data showing its efficacy being slightly higher. Maybe I'm being naive here, but when I go get my flu shot, I never go in and say to the doctor, I want the flu shot from this company or which company is it? I just get the shot. And I think that the more vaccines we have, the better. The goal of Operation Warp Speed never was a winner-take-all sort of battle. I think that, there are obviously other companies beyond Pfizer and Moderna working on vaccines, and hopefully all of them have 95% plus efficacy rates, and we'll all be able to go to our doctor or a CVS Minute Clinic or Walgreens and get the vaccine sometime next year. And I honestly don't care who it's by.
So you're one of the people. There's some people that don't want to take it, Paul. There's some people.
Obviously. I think that's a broader concern, not for the vaccine makers, but for for the economy and the market writ large. If you have people who stubbornly say, I'm not going to take the vaccine, it's one thing to say, I don't want to be first in line to get it. But if you have people that are going to be anti-vaxxers in the same way they are with their kids and, with even things like flu shots, then, sadly, we're going to wind up having the COVID crisis probably linger a lot longer than it needs to. I think the hope, and it may be, overly optimistic, especially hopes that it's going to happen sometime soon. I think we're prepping for a day where COVID-19 is unfortunately something that's always around, but that you shouldn't contract if you're vaccinated. It's the type of thing where there should be, you're going to not have many people getting it in the future, hopefully, if people take the vaccines and the vaccines are actually effective.
So Paul, you don't really understand why Moderna would be selling off this morning or why Pfizer sold off on a Moderna headline. That's not making sense.
I think it's silly. I understand it. I think the market loves Coke versus Pepsi, binary sort of black-white trading scenarios, but I think it's more nuanced.
Right. In terms of the overall market's reaction, we saw in both months, but this week and last week, just to a lesser degree this week, but a big pop on the news. And last week we basically spent the back half of the week giving back, call it half of those gains from Monday. This week was a little bit more muted, but still we're just sort of meandering here. What do you make of the market's overall reaction? It seems like it got a little bit ahead of itself on Monday. And then maybe everyone realizing, we still have to figure out how we're going to get this thing distributed to everyone. That's a big problem.
Yeah, I think there are a couple things at play. One, I think people are starting to realize, unfortunately, that a vaccine is not coming tomorrow. And that means that given the second wave concerns we're already seeing in the many parts of the United States, there are sadly going to be more people getting sick and hospitalized. You're going to see also people that need financial assistance aren't going to get it until at the earliest, probably, sometime next year when you have a new administration coming in that might be able to work with Congress on that, because it seems like there's no willingness to do a lame duck stimulus deal now. And then obviously, I think politically, despite lawsuits and tweets from the current president, the market's moved on and is ready for a Biden administration. What the market doesn't know yet is Biden going to be dealing with a 50-50 Senate where Harris has the tiebreaker vote? We won't know that until we get those Georgia Senate races on January 5th. So I think the market has quickly pivoted away from Biden versus Trump to Georgia.
What do you think we're going to be talking about in a year from now, Paul?
Anything but this.
I think we probably still, I think we're still going to be talking to a certain extent about COVID-19. It's not going to be, gone. But I think the big question is going to be what type of stimulus package we get from the incoming Biden administration with, at a bare minimum, a Democratic House, although a majority that is slimmer than it was because they lost some seats there, and a potential, either a still Republican-controlled Senate or a very narrow majority for the Dems. So I think people are going to be talking about, is the stimulus working? If we finally get an infrastructure bill that, remember, that was being promised in 2016, never happened, that could be another kick of stimulus. So I think the questions are going to turn to, especially assuming if Jerome Powell is reappointed or renominated by President-elect Biden for a second term as Fed chair, the question is going to be, how much more stimulus do we need? Is the inflation finally starting to kick in from said stimulus, and what's the Fed going to have to do? I think the other thing that people are going to be focusing on is, comparisons from an earnings standpoint. You might have some particular sectors and companies that it's going to be tougher for them to build on, what they've done this year, because we've obviously had, some companies still reporting very solid earnings despite the, concerns about the vaccine and the recession that we find ourselves in.
Yeah, and Paul, if I can pivot to that for a second, we've got some retailers reporting earnings this morning. Really dominating the week is retail. How bullish or bearish are you on retail right now as we head into the holiday season? It seems like there is a desire there to buy some of these stocks. Like you saw Lowe's and Home Depot not react well. What is your overall sense of retail right now as we're getting these numbers this week and as we head into what is typically in a normal year the crucial time of the year?
Right. I mean, I think the key this year is that the strong probably remain strong and get stronger. Your Amazons, your Walmarts, your Targets. I mean, put aside some of the short-term moves that might be happening as a result of earnings. I think the companies that have established a strong digital footprint are going to do well. And then you mentioned Home Depot and Lowe's. Obviously, they're a bit of a curious animal because it's a mix of retail, but it's also very closely tied to the housing market, which remains strong. I think in the case of both of those companies, Home Depot and Lowe's didn't do poorly in this last quarter. I think that the expectations probably rose to unsustainably high levels. And also, to their credit, particularly Home Depot, these are companies that are using their position of strength to give back to their workers with higher wages. So, the Wall Street's going to have the knee-jerk reaction of, higher expenses cut into profit margins. But you're supposed to do this during a time of strength. So I give Home Depot and Lowe's the credit for taking, the time to reward their workers and not just shareholders in a time when both companies are doing really well.
I think, Paul, in a year from now, we're going to be everyone's going to be talking about the electric car that they have, and what different brands there are out there. Just some quick comments on Tesla and NIO and the electric car phase, and also how the little buzz is doing with the virtual learning. Are they adapting to it?
Yeah, they're hanging in there. My younger son's off to physical school today because they're in a blended model. My older son is home doing online, but he goes 2 days a week. But with regards to electric cars, I mean, I think that, NIO obviously is not something that many American consumers are going to own as a vehicle. They may own the stock, which has been on fire. Maybe not the best metaphor for an electric car company, but still, I think the electric car companies, clearly what we've seen with Tesla and the inclusion now in the SP 500, this is no longer a story where electric cars are a niche part of the automotive market that's just for, the affluent that can afford a pricey Model S or Model X. I mean, between the Model 3 and the Model Y, you've got prices that are more affordable because of battery costs. You have that coming down. That will lower the price of these vehicles as well. So it's clearly becoming more ubiquitous. And, the big automotive companies in America and Japan and Europe are all embracing this as well. So I think, I'm not so sure that we're going to be at a point next year where you're going to be driving around and, 50% of the cars on the road are going to be electric. think it's really just a gradual adoption. But, clearly the big auto companies are going to be selling more electric cars, and a lot of states are going to be, California in particular, are really trying to emphasize, to push adoption of electric vehicles in order to lessen the amount of gas guzzling cars that are out on the roads and all the pollution that comes as a result of that.
We've been on with Paul and Monica, digital correspondent at CNN Business, joining us here on Pre-Market Prep. Paul, thanks a lot for the time. Stay safe out there.
Thanks a lot. Same to you guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
All
Paul.
I just saw this headline come through from Reuters that the FDA has asked their advisory committees to plan to meet December 8th through 10th to discuss the COVID-19 vaccinations. So December 8th through 10th. And we know that the AdCom, what they say doesn't necessarily go, but they provide a recommendation to the FDA to either approve or not approve any drugs. So December 8th through 10th looks like around then we may get some clarity on whether these vaccines will get approved. Let's go to NEO here. We talked about it briefly there with Paul. The earnings were out last night. As you all know by now, they were great. The earnings per share beat. Their sales beat. Their delivery guidance was strong too. They said that they're going to deliver between 16.5 and 17,000 vehicles in the current quarter. They delivered a little over 12,000 vehicles last quarter. So delivery guidance good, earnings good, sales good.
I mean, stock. I don't know what the straddle was going for here, but whoever was buying the straddle on this thing, the straddle writers are like partying in the streets here, because I bet you the straddle was a lot higher than 26 cents. I bet that straddle was like $5 or $6 or $7. So I don't know. Maybe I should just go look it up. But I mean, interesting, that we expected this huge move one way or another, and we get exactly no move at all in NEO. I mean, it chopped around a little bit after the earnings, but actually, surprisingly, very muted the response to these earnings. I mean, we still, obviously, it's digesting. It's going to probably pick a direction and run with it. But so far, so good. I would say that it didn't sell off with a lot of high expectations in there.
I did a Nick Shaheen on this one.
Oh, my goodness. What did you do?
I did. It's so funny too, because I looked at the weekly puts and I'm like, nah.
It was just over $7 a straddle.
I'm like, no.
Actually, almost $8.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
It was almost $8. Wow, it was almost $8 expected move, and it moved 40 cents.
Well, it's not over.
Write those options. Yeah, but is it moving $8 here in the next 2 days?
I hope down.
I don't think so. I guess you got 3 days.
Anyways, the thing was trading. It was late in the day, and I said, I'm just gonna throw a Nick Shaheen debit spread on. Not like I hate, you click on the platform. They're just so boring, And I said, okay. And so I think I put like a couple weeks out to 46.42. And I didn't pay much for it at all, so I got the max profit. And it was right here. I did it, and the thing fell out of bed. And I'm like, oh, great. I got a spread on. And this thing, it was near the end of the day. So we'll see what happens with it. I mean, they let you in, but you don't let you out. I mean, defined risk with it. I'll tell you what the key to NEO is here.
Yeah, tell me, please.
The bulls are firmly in control until you take out this double bottom here.
Which one are you looking at? Point it out.
Right here.
The little 40 and a half?
Yep.
Yeah, yep. I'll go with that.
Yep. This is the day it got citroned.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the next day they tried to take it there, but the bulls
held that low. Yeah. They held the citron low. So we'll call that the Andrew left low.
Yes.
Has held. And until the Andrew left low is taken out, the bulls are in control. I'll go with that. I'll stay bullish, NEO, until I'm not in it anymore. I sold it at $42, $43. I guess I'm not going to get a chance to rebuy my price. But as long as it holds on to that 40.55, the Andrew left low, bulls are in control. And I would say if I was long it, I would hold it until it takes that out.
Right.
Good strategy.
And I was thinking the reason I did the 46.42 is I figured, if it just gapped down like $8, then whatever, then hopefully I could get out of this spread for max value. But I thought even if they hit it, I thought it would be tough to take it through that area. And as it turns out, they whacked it pretty good. They got it to 42.45, but still $2 away from that low. So, I mean, you just gotta, that's a good one, folks. Write that one down. The Andrew left low. and see if it can hold up today. It had a nice rebound. What was the close from yesterday? We're only down 7 cents. Keep an eye on that close of 46.59. Probably get a dance around a lot on that. 48.30. That's what I'll be looking at. That's the all-time closing high. Look where we got in the pre-market too. Holy mackerel. I'm giving you guys too good numbers. 48.60 is the pre-market high, and then the all-time closing high. You want to throw Tesla in here now?
No, I want to throw a ride in here now. Lordstown Motors gets the Kramer love yesterday. So you had Jim Kramer came out, said, I'm going to have Lordstown on the show. The stock was 22.5. It opened and then obviously ran. So it ran up ahead of the Mad Money segment. And then it ran up even more. Obviously, when the stock came on Mad Money, that Kramer pushes stocks. So they go, man. So he's been on the ride bandwagon here for a little while, and he's been pushing it higher, and it is pushing higher. Obviously, a lot of people are in the stock. $16 3 days ago, $26. I would ring the register on a 70% move in 3 days, but that's just me. And obviously, I sell too early sometimes. There's room to 30, but this was Mad Money love here that's really got this stock flying high.
And if you were paying attention to your daily charts and looking for the after hours price action, you would have been keen on $28. Look at this, 3 highs in that one area.
Last night it got to 28, eh?
Yeah. And then
that's on Kramer, all off of Kramer.
Yeah. And then look at
Holy, he's got influence, man.
Yeah, he does. Look at that. All in the same area right there.
The Kramer influence is stronger than it's ever been. And I'll tell you why. It's because there's so many traders who have retail traders who have access to obviously after hours trading now. Whether they call them Robinhood traders or call them whatever platform they're using, but they see an idea pitched on CNBC and they jump right in.
You haven't seen a lot of blow-ups, though. I mean, you haven't heard a lot of blow-ups coming out of, from these people. I don't know if they're just reloading, but...
Well, why would they be blowing up? The stocks are at all-time highs. I mean, you don't hear people blowing up when stocks are making new all-time highs.
Well, I mean, Kodak,
they're all long-only traders.
Kodak, I'm sure some people took a hit.
I'm sure. Again, I don't think everybody's putting all their money in Kodak. I would hope not. So, I mean, you're not going to see any retail pain until you get a significant sell-off, like 20, 30%, and then you see the pain. We've had a 10% pullback in the Qs. I mean, it's been pretty rosy trading environment besides, the 4-day sell-off in the Qs. So you're just not going to see it until the market takes a significant dip. So that's why I don't go on margins. Stay diversified, and you can tough out those dips too.
Look at this. Look at this. Yesterday's high was just under 26. We're holding 26 here. So that's what you need to do. You need to hold 26 for this rally to continue here in Lordstown Motors. Have they actually produced a car, or are they just...
I don't think anybody's producing cars except NIO and Tesla, and that's why those stocks get so much love.
That's why they get the love. Okay.
Yeah, that's why they get the love.
I want to go to retail here. Target had earnings this morning.
We're fading here, just to let you all know that we backed off about 8 points during the show. Dennis, you see any selling balances or what's going on out there?
Go take a look. We haven't looked at imbalances in a long time. Pfizer, 980,000 to buy. Projected open is $38 right now. That's not going to happen. I'll be selling it a lot lower than that. I tell you, selling it short a lot lower than that. If I didn't have it on for a long-term investment, just as a trade, I think you sell the hell out of the Pfizer news again. It's worked every time. Why is it going to be different this time? General Electric, it looks like it wants to go over 10 today. We have the good Boeing news. Remember, GE is a big part supplier to the MAX as well. It is bid 10 right now and trying to take out 10 in the regular session. I would imagine that there's some size at the point there. I'm not logged in, but I would think 10 is going to probably, I think it opens at 10. If the market holds up, this probably actually opens right at 10. So, but we'll see. It might open below 10. It's not going to open over 10. I will say right now, the stock does not open over 10. Does it take out 10 in the regular session? Probably.
Do you know who got this one right?
Kramer.
Jim
Kramer did. We've been giving Kramer a lot of heat. He's been all over GE. He did the GE and Ford to $10. He's up to his price target on Ford to 12. But he said which one's going to get there first because they're both going to 10, and both stocks were about 750. So Kramer, we give you some hate sometimes. We'll give you some love here right now. You were correct on General Electric because it has hit $10 this morning.
When did Goldman give it to Goose? Spencer, do you have your pro open there? Yeah, the Goldman buy. Yeah. When was that? That was a good one.
Let me go into the pro and look that up for a second. When was that? That was well, so they you mean when they raised their price target because they had they upgraded it. Oh, that was back in June.
Are you sure they didn't do anything more
I don't
recent?
remember Goldman doing much at all in this.
Yeah, well, so they raised their price target a couple of weeks ago.
Okay,
but
that's what I was thinking about. What day was that?
that was the October 14th.
Okay, that was a good call.
Boeing 250,000 to buy. Projected open is 222 right now. It's 223.68. Again, these projected openings are constantly moving. So if the stock was to open at this moment, it would open at 222 with the orders that are currently in there. But as more buy orders come in, it pushes the price higher. As more sell orders come in, it pushes the price lower. So, but you get projected openings from the NYSE, which is nice. You don't get projected opening on NASDAQ till 928. You get projected opening on New York Stock Exchange. I think they start early now. They used to not come in until like 8:30, but I think they even start earlier than that now. So it's 8:41, and I got projected openings for everything. But again, it's early, so these projected openings don't mean that much at this time. It just is if hypothetically it was to open right now, that's where it would open. So they're saying 222, now 221.60 on Boeing.
Coming down, huh?
Yeah, but it's all just, it might be a lot of buy orders that come in. It could pump it to 225.
There's gotta be some
right
stuff in the book. I mean, I wouldn't be canceling my 200 GTC.
That's why. Well, that's why it's probably trading. That the projected opening is lower because the book pressure is holding it down. There's probably some orders in the book there. Taiwan Semiconductor, another one of note, 101,000 to buy in Taiwan Semiconductor TSM. I don't know if there's a headline there, but it's up $2.89. Projected opening on that's $100. Again, don't just think you'll buy at 98.65. It's going to 100 though. If you haven't, these are moving targets, so it doesn't necessarily have to open anywhere. Just telling you what the projected opening is at this time.
I haven't seen that headline on TSM. I want to remind everyone, hit that like button. No, don't just hit it. Just smash that like button wherever it is, if it's up or down or sideways on your screen. Hit the like button. We appreciate that. Thanks to CJ Vick, and all the other people who have submitted super comments or super chats on YouTube. We appreciate that. Can we go to retail here? Target had earnings this morning. I want to go there. Target's numbers were good. They beat estimates on their earnings per share and their sales. I want to compare Target to what Walmart said yesterday. So yesterday, Walmart said that their overall same-store sales, right, for the quarter, the overall same-store sales grew 6.5% year over year. E-commerce sales grew 79%. That's what Walmart said. 6%, 79%. Target came out this morning and said our overall same-store sales grew 20%, and our e-commerce sales grew 155%. So better growth from Target than.
I'll say one thing because the market will just compare those apples to apples, but it's a lot harder to grow online sales at a high number when your numbers a lot higher. Target isn't, Target is just still, it's early in its online business.
That's true.
Where obviously Walmart and Amazon are very, Amazon's never going to grow at 150% year over year because everybody's already buying everything there.
That's true. But what are people buying? They're buying growth, right? So, and what's growing? Target.
Their online business is small and it's got the potential to grow into a bigger business. So so you got that point there too. So is this all-time highs, Joel? Really close.
Yes, sir.
Really close anyway.
I'll tell you right now. I don't know who it is, he, she, or a group of people, but they're eyeballing 168 here. I mean, they're like, okay, I got an order at 168. Come, whatever you want. It just like, I'll sell them at 168. The initial surge took it to 168.30, and then they said, no, we went out at 168. So get through that, keep going. Greener skies, 169, 170, but someone's got a piece there. That's a couple bucks above the all-time high. So big seller at 168 there.
Had a couple more. We had Lowe's this morning getting the beats. Home Depot's numbers were like okay, they were fine, and they sold that headline. So when Lowe's came out this morning and reported less than ideal numbers, their earnings per share missed, their sales beat, and their Q4 EPS guidance was in line. Nothing really amazing there. I think an earnings miss, $1.98, and they missed by a penny. It's not anything. We're dissecting hairs here. But Home Depot's report was good. They sold that. Lowe's report less good. So it would stand to reason they're going to sell that harder.
I mean, this is important to consider that I said it yesterday on Home Depot and Lowe's. This is the environment. And then it's funny, Jim Cramer said it in the morning too, but it's not going to get any better. this is the environment that I think is as good as it gets for Home Depot and Lowe's. So, I mean, Lowe's, great environment. You got everybody working on their homes and doing everything here. And, it didn't, do as good as expectations were there. So I don't know how it gets better from here. With that being said, these two stocks are loved, and there is always underneath demand for these two stocks. And I would expect eventually that Lowe's probably bounces back. So I don't buy it on day one.
We've seen some crazy days.
Buying the dip
Lowe's
on the stocks that are loved just seems to work.
There's been some crazy days in Lowe's where it's been down 10 and then end up the 5. I mean, I don't know if that's going to be that kind of scenario. I did have that 150 area as a major support area. That's where you broke out from in July, and now you're returning to that area. So let's see if it holds. Pre-market low is below that. The pre-market low is in the 147 handle, 147.25. And I got to go back a ways to find anything on that. So keep an eye on 147.25. But I think you're going to get a bounce in this. I just don't know where. Find an area with a bunch of lows. What I'd like to see, how many lows are here? Oh, look at this. There's a bunch of 140. There's 2 at 147, 147.23, 1743. That's a good area. And then another double bottom at 145.40. But I don't know. I mean, if you have some puts and you have some things, definitely, it's going to have a rally. Just don't know when.
Well, you can't say anything for definitely. I know it's tongue in cheek you're talking there, but again, when you're buying on day one, sometimes these things take more than one day to work themselves out. Correct. And we saw this with BABA. We saw this with a lot of different stocks where you come in here and you're buying the dip on day one, and then, the dip Correct. Continues. I mean, Fastly was probably the best example. It has bounced. It has come back, but Fastly after day one was $95, and people are like, how can you go wrong? When it went down to 60, it went down for another 10 days. When they disappoint, they seem to stay in the gutter for a little bit, and it takes a catalyst. It takes something to turn it around. So I don't think Lowe's just imminently bounces back here. I think, it'll take a catalyst. It'll maybe, go down and kind of hang out, try to stop going down first, and then starts to try to show some life. So I would wait until at least you have a catalyst to turn this thing around.
All right. Hanging out 36.14. That's up 7.25. Nice range overnight, 23.25. That's one tick above our all-time closing high. 85.75. Big support on the downside. 3 lows in the same area. And speaking about lows, and then talking about 3 lows. So there you go. Technical Wednesday here on Pre-Market Prep.
What's interesting? We talked on the afternoon show, Dennis, about GDRX, and that one is still going down this morning. Walgreens and CVS have sort of leveled off here. But
what is their exact GoodRx? So I know it's like delivery of pharmaceuticals. Is that what they do?
Yep, that's what they do.
Delivery.
It's an online pharmacy. So
I mean, this is an Amazon direct hit, and people are like, oh. This is going to have huge growth. Everybody wants to buy their things online. From great idea until Amazon just came into the same arena. Everybody's going to go to the Amazon pharmacy. So this is not surprising. I mean, it's hard for these things to just bounce back. And, CVS and Walgreens were slammed yesterday. They haven't bounced back much. I mean, Walgreens is trading right at the same price it closed at yesterday. So, you can say, oh, yeah, I'm going to come buy the dip. Walgreens, CVS is going to bounce right back. But it's a direct hit and direct blow to them, too. Like I said, I think actually these stocks go lower over the next year. I think 1 year from now, we look at CVS and Walgreens, and I think they're significantly lower. So because of Amazon. So I think a Target and a Walmart will not have that much problems with this. I think a CVS and a Walgreens and this GoodRx will have major problems with this Amazon pharmacy.
Someone in the chat yesterday afternoon acknowledged that they had asked you about it, and you had told them to stay away, and they wish they would have listened to you. I can't remember who it was, but I think they DM'd you. I did talk to another.
That's just my opinion.
Yep. You do have a whole generation of people that still like to go to the drugstore and still like to talk to their pharmacist. And
all the older generation. Like you, Joel, the 80-year-olds.
Yes. I'm just saying. So it's not, it's not going away. It's not a driver. I'm just saying that there's still.
Well, it is going away okay, let's go to Rite Aid. I mean, we've been talking about Rite Aid going away for a long time. Rite Aid, you're right. They don't go away. We've had Rite Aid for dead on this show. We've been predicting the demise of Rite Aid since we started the show back in like 2014. We've been predicting the demise of Rite Aid. and it's still alive. So maybe you're right. Maybe they don't go away, but maybe they're not making as much money as they used to either. Either way, the Rite Aid short has worked well because even they do some reverse splits and they keep the stock floating, the company floating somehow. But what's the all-time high on RAD?
This one's showing over 180.
No, you gotta go further back than that. That's in 2014. Go way back. There's reverse splits on that. I bet you it's a lot higher than that. I bet you it's a lot higher than 180.
Well,
maybe I'm wrong, but
okay, you've been wrong.
Go
before.
back. Oh no, maybe that is. No.
Oh yeah,
okay.
no, you're right. Triple
well,
D.
no, it's not that much higher. 200. So okay.
200. Yep.
Anyways, we've been predicting the demise of Rite Aid for a long time, and it has went down. It's still around though. So
Nick Bellucci likes to.
How is CVS and Walgreens different than Rite Aid? Besides being better brands, better run, better management, but really their overall business. Do you distinguish? How do you distinguish really?
You know what I
Rite
think,
Aid?
and I'm not sure, but does Rite Aid have any drive-throughs?
Well, they could have came out with that. I mean, that's
no, I know they
like
haven't. I'm just, I know that
I don't
CVS
know if they are or not.
on the corner. Yeah, I mean, they do have some valuable real estate. Some of these places. I mean, I hate to use the real estate play, but
Macy's.
Walgreens does have some valuable real estate.
Do they own their? But do they own them or do they just lease?
I don't know. A lot of them
either.
are like 50-year leases. Yeah, you're right. I don't know. I don't know what's going to say.
I just think of I look at that chart of Rite Aid, and then I look at Walgreens and CVS. They've all been in significant downtrends. I mean, CVS best of breed has held up, but back in 2015 it was 110.67. These aren't, growth businesses. I don't see it growing. I see Amazon Pharmacy attacking their business model at the core now. Obviously, we've worried about this for years, which is why I said I wouldn't invest in these companies years ago, because I've been worried about Amazon coming and pissing in their pool, and they just did. So the question now is, is all the bad news in there and they're just going to bounce back like some of these other businesses? Like we thought this with Best Buy, and obviously Amazon, Best Buy figured it out. So maybe CVS and Walgreens can figure it out, although I don't know. I don't know if it's like, I got to go to the drugstore to pick up my drugs. I mean, I go to buy electronics. It's like, it's cool. I can pick up my electronics and try these different electronics. I don't need to try my drugs out at the store. So I think Best Buy is a little bit different, but I don't think it's good news for CVS and Walgreens in the long term. My long-term hat on right now says sell CVS and Walgreens even at these prices. Sell any bounce. That's what my long-term hat says.
I don't know what the integration of the Aetna is going to do for CVS. I mean, it was Aetna that they bought, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, they're trying.
I want to hear some questions from our chat here. We've got a lot of tiers have been thrown out in the last 50 minutes or so. Let's start with Twilio here. We haven't looked at Twilio recently.
Twilio?
Yeah.
It's probably at all-time highs.
LO.
No, not. I haven't looked at it for a while either. You know what? It looks ready to go. From a chart perspective, it looks good. I kind of like it. I mean, it's pulled back 220 to 340. So you had a 120-point move. You pull back. Yeah. 67. You're kind of stalling out here at the 50% retracement. That's where you're kind of finding support. It's a stock that's loved. Valuation's insane, but we know this market doesn't give a crap about valuation. So why not? I'm not going to get bearish Twilio until it takes out 254. So I would say I think it makes a new all-time high, maybe even by the end of the year, just because it's Twilio. So I like it.
It's had a couple highs in the same area, and now it's clearing it. You got a gap to fill here. It had a rough 3 days, so you're gonna find some sellers. But I think your first target, if you can maintain these gains up $1.42, you to the bottom of this. That's at 288.20. So that's not too far. Oh, is it above that? So it is filling the gap. So yeah, I'll just go simple on this one too. I mean, you had the retreat from the all-time high. I know you were looking at a different retracement, Dennis, but 300. If you want another target, that's where it fell off hard from after the first decline. It rallied back, so maybe you look there, clearing 289, maybe 300 target. Nice round number like that.
Next.
Back to the chat. Here's one we haven't talked about recently. PCG.
PCG still
around?
Yeah, it's still around.
Where the rally? These bankrupt companies,
wait, I did
man.
CG.
It's the new thing. Bankrupt companies going higher. I guess when valuation, everything doesn't matter and fundamentals don't matter. Even stocks just go anywhere.
I think Joel just almost had a seizure.
Yeah, I put CG up there. I'm like, wow, 28. That's a hell of a rally.
PCG. It's been a hell of a rally. That's up from 10 to 12. I don't know how the valuation bankrupt companies. So I don't know. Pass.
All right.
If I was long this thing, I don't know if I'd be picking a target, but man, a lot of up days in a row here. That's like, I don't even know if I could draw a trend line that steep. Let's see if I can do it. That's a vertical line.
Want me to take over and draw it, Joel? I'll draw it for you.
Let's
Two
see.
options, annotate. Here we go. Bam! I'm faster than
wait.
Joel. I do a freehand. That's pretty good.
There you go.
I'm faster than
okay.
Joel.
There,
okay.
That's a nice straight line there, Dennis. There
That's
you
okay.
Here, I'll
go.
autograph it for you. D, D, D.
Oh, that's good. What grades did you get in penmanship there?
0.
Well,
It looks like
failed,
dig.
failed
No,
penmanship
well,
too.
We know
All right,
Dennis
erase.
failed- Dennis
Erase.
failed
Get off my charts.
How do I erase it?
We know that Dennis failed art class. He's the only person that can.
I don't remember how to erase, so it's.
Oh, do we want to talk about our art
It's
teachers
gone.
again?
No, we don't. Okay, moving on from PCG.
Miss Waggle.
Mrs. Kemming. I still have her Christmas gift. in
How'd
my
you do in
locker.
art?
Oh,
Were you good in art?
Horrible.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lisa's
I
good.
told you I
though.
got the F in art in like grade 3 or grade 5. I think
Yeah,
it was.
that.
All right, moving on. Palantir. Still.
Dennis.
Oh, it's a monster stock. It keeps going.
Oh no.
These stocks, just the story stocks keep going. If I was long in this thing, I would hold on because I think the ride is still going. I think the party's still getting started. I see it over 20 soon.
Yeah, I don't know how you gauge these things.
You can't really. You draw your little trend line. Jeff Mackey, purple crayon.
Wait,
ding, ding.
Wow, it had a weak close and then now it's right back up at 18.
It didn't have great earnings and they bought it right back anyway.
Yeah, because the big boys got in there. 1875. Keep an eye on that. Yesterday's high. That's all I can give you.
I like it.
Might go red on the day.
I'm
Sorry,
bullish
I'd
Peloton.
find support 1785.
Or
That
not
was
Peloton,
the close.
Sorry, Pelletier. Holy Fubo. What happened to Fubo?
Yeah,
Somebody just said Fubo. I'm still long. Remember, I kept a little piece just for Mitch. I guess you got to buy the pullbacks. This is what's worked. Buying the pullbacks on the storied stocks when they report. So Neo's the same thing, I guess. And, we know valuation doesn't matter. Fubo came right back down and boom, it's gone again.
That was quick.
22 and a half. It gave you a couple days. It went from 20 down to 15, and now we're taking off now. So don't hesitate.
Dennis.
Don't snooze too long. Are you back in Fubo, Mitch?
Sell the rip, buy the dip, baby.
That's it, baby. Are we selling this rip? I'm still in the piece. I'm holding on this time.
Well,
I'm
you
holding on
sold
to the
one rip,
piece.
right? So might as well just hold on to that last
I
rip,
will hold
right?
on to this piece. Yeah. Hold on.
Lazy
to the last
boy.
piece. Mitch, what are you doing in the background? What? Okay, talk to me. Give me a Mitch pick. We all want a Mitch pick.
I usually have one, Dennis, and I can say today, sometimes you got to know not when to call one. Today's going to be for me. I'm going to hold one to my I'm going to be kind of a no trade leaning today. I don't see anything that I'm leaning on except I do see the rotation in retail, so I'll pay attention to that.
I have one. So I've been meaning to mention this for a few.
Spencer.
But I haven't.
With a spec pick?
Hasn't come out. It's not a SPAC. No.
Specs.
A spec.
Although I did mention this to you, Dennis, I think last week, Starbucks. So
Starbucks, that's not a spec. What do you like about Starbucks?
No,
Subscription.
I'm exactly. I mentioned this, I think, last week to you guys. So if you recall, back in February, you probably know, but I'll tell you anyway. Panera launched their own subscription service back in February. Okay, we finally have some data. They're a private company now, so they don't have to update us on subscribers and all that stuff. But they did give an update a couple of days ago. They gave the interview to Restaurant Business Online, and they said they have nearly 500,000 paid subscribers, and 35% of them are new customers. 35% of those coffee orders include food. So basically what it is the subscription is $9 a month, and it lets you get unlimited coffee. So what I'm thinking,
are they going to do this everywhere?
Who's they? Panera?
Yeah.
I think they're doing it everywhere.
Oh, they're already doing it everywhere.
They're doing it everywhere.
So is Starbucks going to do this now?
So I'm thinking Starbucks is going to see what the success that Panera is having and just do the same exact thing.
Yeah, I think you said this the other day.
I mentioned this off the air. So I
thought you mentioned it on the show.
No,
because
I didn't.
I was like 94 or 95. I remember talking about Starbucks, and stocks go to like 95, go to 100. The old Kenny Glick theory. A stock that goes to 98 goes to 100. So I'll say I think it's going to 100. It's only a buck away. I think it breaks out. I've never been a Starbucks fan because I don't drink coffee, but I'll tell you the chart looks good. I'd buy pullbacks on this because I think Starbucks is eventually well over $100. It's just put in too much work down here not to. I mean, you look at the chart from the last year. I guess you got to look at it because it just said under $100 back in July of 2019. So here you are a year and a half later. It's done all its work, went through the COVID crisis successfully, and it looks like it's ready to break out.
The only thing I would worry about is if Amazon got into coffee shops.
I worry about Amazon, yes. Amazon coffee. You know what? Actually, they do. So here, hang on. I'm going to read you a text from my other buddy, Mike. I have two Mike buddies. I'm going to read you a text
Really?
from him. Yeah, I'm going to read you this text. He's always thinking too, this guy. So where are we going here? He was talking about Amazon and coffee. So they already have done this, Joel, apparently.
So anyway, bottom line is
you talk for a second.
I'm thinking Starbucks is going to announce a subscription. I don't know when. I have no insight, but I'm thinking if it's so successful for Panera, then why wouldn't Starbucks do it? So Panera's thing is you get a free cup of coffee every 2 hours. You pay $9 a month for that privilege. And they're saying that most of that, over a third of those purchases include food. They get you in the store, you buy something else. It includes new customers. So if it's working for them, there's no reason why it wouldn't work for Starbucks. That's what I'm thinking. That's why I bought some Starbucks last week.
Sorry, nice. The coffee text was on canned coffee though. So he was saying, I buy coffee from Amazon with free delivery, and it's $2 cheaper than the grocery store. So if they start actually making the coffee there at Amazon, and they can make it cheaper than Starbucks and Tim Hortons in Canada, look out. Deliver your coffee. It's going to be hard to deliver that $2 cup of coffee, though, and actually make money. If they can figure that out. Drones, I guess, right? Yeah. You know what? Okay, so here's your business model. You come up, the drones you don't have to pay for you just pay for, obviously, the maintenance of the drones, but the drones come in and they deliver your coffee to you every morning. I mean, this could work. So Amazon coffee, they could do it, man. So when that happens, I'm selling my Starbucks stock, and I don't own Starbucks, but I would.
Costco coffee.
Drone delivery for coffee.
Costco coffee is good. Wait, we got to do Lazy Boy.
Lazy Boy?
Yes. Lazy Boy. Dennis, when's the last time we told the Lazy Boy?
I ain't telling the story. It's no time. We're 9:02. It's like a 20-minute story. I'll miss the open if we tell the story.
It's like a 6-minute story, but we're not going to tell it now anyway. It's fine.
We tease it every quarter. We never.
It has been a while since
Monroe, Michigan, baby.
Yeah, baby. Lazy Boy chairs, Monroe Shock Orders, and Kaylani Ray Rafco. Did you know she was on my swim team? She was Miss America back in the 80s. Yeah.
I don't even know what we're talking about right now. The bottom line on Lazy Boys, their earnings are good, and they reinstated their dividends.
Hell yeah. Everyone's sitting at home and they're lazy boys during the pandemic.
That's it. Kicking back. I'd buy, they can't get a hot tub. I taught my hot tub guy to tell this, had the hot tub guy come fix my hot tub. And I was just shooting the breeze.
After you try to do it yourself.
Well, yeah. Oh, of course. I try to fix everything myself. I'm cheap. But anyways, I need a new seal. They fixed it. It was like $300. Everything costs so much money, twice as much as you think it should. But anyways, I was talking about hot tubs because my hot tub's kind of older. I was like, I should eventually get a new hot tub here. He's saying, well, if you want to get a new hot tub, you better put your order in now because it's 9 months to get a hot tub through their company. It's a 9-month back order on hot tubs here right now. And that's COVID. He's like, thank COVID for that. I mean, I don't know if that's the case everywhere. I went to Canadian Tire and I saw a hot tub there. So it looks like maybe you can just buy one there, but it's a 9-month back order on hot tubs. Right
now. What also is hard to get? Very hard to get. We ordered a refrigerator a couple months ago. And then the original place we got it from, they said they couldn't get it anymore. So then Lisa, she said, I could get it from Sears. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, okay. So
Sears is still selling stuff?
So listen to this. So she orders it from Sears.
From Sears, bankrupt Sears.
Yeah, I know.
What if they just take your money and run away?
So on Monday, she's like, could you clear everything out? We have a couple different fridges. She goes, can you clear everything out? And I'm like, I wasn't going to do it. I'm like, I know they're not coming. I know they're not. I'm like, I go, could you check? And they said, oh, no, it's coming today. It's coming today. And so I take everything out. I didn't break any eggs. I clear out the whole fridge and we're waiting. And then she gets an email. oh, it's coming November 23rd. I go, I'm shorting that November 23rd. We are never. I wanted to keep the refrigerator from the other place too, and have two come and see which one came first, and then scalp out of one. But she didn't.
Huh.
She didn't like have them both on the. And it's hard, man. Refrigerators are hard to get. But
It's hard to
anyways,
get everything. People are buying stuff, man. But we don't have any inflation. There's no inflation coming. Although lumber prices are up 50% year over year. No
Lazy
inflation.
Boy pre-market high 41.27. 40 was a big number last Monday. We'll see if sellers come in that. So,
all right, looking ahead to later in the day on our SPAC Attack show, CEO.
What time SPAC Attack?
Interview. I'm telling you, it's at 11 a.m. On our YouTube channel.
You're taking a nap then.
And today
I'm going SPAC Attack.
We're talking with James Litinsky. He is the CEO of MP Materials. They're being acquired by a SPAC. The ticker is FVAC, Foxtrot Victor Alpha Charlie, FVAC. We're talking with the CEO of the acquired company.
Well, FVAC is gone now, right? MP?
It is the new ticker then. I didn't realize
MP, I think.
it actually gone through. I didn't realize the change had gone through. So MP is the new
last night it did.
Yeah.
And
Okay. So
wow,
MP.
up 17%. When these things go through, they go.
My mistake. MP is the new symbol. We'll have the CEO of MP on at 11 a.m. Eastern time. YouTube.com/Benzinga TV. Check that out. That's all I have to say. I want to remind everyone again to hit that like button. Show us some love. We appreciate it. Man, I really cannot keep up with the chat anymore, especially on YouTube. There's way too many comments for me to try to keep track of all the tickers being dropped in throughout the show. So
if you switch away and then you come back, they catch up with all of them. And please, if you're driving, please don't contribute to the chat. Okay.
I don't think we have that problem, but yeah, I don't know if that needs to
be. We have mobile users.
Okay, fine. Thanks to all of our participants and listeners and all of our chats. You can always email us, premarket@benzinga.com. Please remember that all the information from our show is meant to be used as informational purposes, not for investing or trading advice. Everyone have a good rest of your day. Good luck, and wherever you are, stay safe.